The Nvidia RTX 3080 is not quite as powerful as the 3080 Ti. They are both extremely powerful GPU, but the Ti variant of this card has more VRAM, a higher shader core count, and more powerful hardware all around, making it a slightly better GPU. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 Ti is an improved version of the RTX 3080. It has 17% more CUDA cores than the latter. The number of RT cores is also greater. Additionally, the 3080 Ti offers 12 GB of memory. This increase in memory will lead to an additional surge in performance. The specifications and the price range of the 3080 Ti is pretty close to 3090. The only significant difference between them is the memory. The RTX 3080 Ti is good enough for running any of the latest games in 4K resolution and at a decent frame rate of 60 fps. Built on Nvidia's Ampere architecture, the RTX 3080 Ti is significantly larger than the RTX 3080. This increase in 6 can be attributed to the higher number of cores, in addition VRAM. At the time of release, the Nvidia 3080 could outshine any other graphic card in the market at that time. Nvidia had released this graphic card as an affordable solution for gaming. In terms of performance, it significantly outmatches the 2080 Ti. It easily shows a 20–30% increase in performance compared to the 2080 Ti and a 50–60% edge over 2080. This is one of the most value-for-money graphic cards when it comes to higher resolutions like 4K and quicker refresh rates. The RTX 3080 is also based on the Ampere architecture from Nvidia. This architecture focuses on optimizing performance and power consumption. The RT and Tensor cores are all second generation. The RTX 3080 is the first graphic card from Nvidia where they have managed to make both data paths capable of handling floating-point computations. This is how the CUDA count amounts to double that over previous generations. Nvidia RTX 3080 Ti vs. RTX 3080 Specs and Features. Of course, the 3080 and the 3080 Ti have some common specs between them. The Ampere architecture, for instance, allows both GPU to be power efficient at high performance levels. Both the GPU are loaded with the third generation of Tensor cores and DLSS. You can enjoy 120Hz, 4K graphics on both processors. The 3080 Ti has 12 GB of memory, which enables it to perform much better than the 3080 with 10 GB of memory. A greater number of CUDA cores also enables the 3080 Ti to provide better graphic performance. In terms of ray tracing and handling DLSS, the 3080 Ti also outclasses the 3080 with a greater number of Tensor and RT cores. When it comes to power consumption, the 3080 Ti is slightly more power-hungry. It consumes a peak power of 350 W while the 3080 is rated for only 320 W. Due to higher power consumption, you will need a better PSU to be able to overclock the 3080 Ti. Nvidia RTX 3080 Ti vs. RTX 3080 Performance. Although the RTX 3080 Ti is priced much higher than the RTX 3080, its performance is not outlandishly better compared to the latter. As far as performance in the 4K Ultra Max settings is concerned, the 3080 Ti will provide an edge of around 10 FPS for older games. For the games that are newer in the market, this difference in FPS may shrink to 5 or 6 FPS. For Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the FPS difference was quite marginal at around 2 FPS. If you benchmark both GPU under lower settings like high, then the performance difference may not seem very obvious. The 1440 performance for both cards is also quite similar, with both GPU hitting the 90–100 FPS mark. Both these GPU have been designed for 4K gaming and not for 1440. With the exception of Cyberpunk 2077, the RTX 3080 Ti beats the RTX 3080 but not by a big margin. Both the GPU, on the other hand, clearly outperform RTX 3070, which was their best GPU for 1440 gaming. Nvidia RTX 3080 Ti vs. RTX 3080 Price. The RTX 3080 is of a common man's choice, while the more premium 3080 Ti will set you back by a lot of extra bucks. While the 3080 starts at around $699, the 3080 Ti carries a hefty price tag of $1,199. This huge price difference is not quite justified by the difference in performance. The Nvidia RTX 3080 is clearly the winner in terms of value. It is capable of going toe-to-toe with RTX 3080 Ti even in 4K Ultra Max settings. But when it comes to cost, it costs around half that of its counterpart. So, if you're seeking value for money, then the Nvidia RTX 3080 should be the go-to GPU for high-performance gaming. Another great advantage of the RTX 3080 is its lower power consumption. Therefore, there will be lesser cooling issues when overclocking the 3080. It is important to keep in mind, however, that both processors will run hot and proper cooling is necessary in both cases.